Sarah's got the intro.
What?
You're live.
No.
Are we really?
We're live.
We're live.
Yeah, we can put it in.
I don't hear anything.
No?
Is it plugged in?
What side is what?
Say something.
Cacao.
Oh,
Say something.
oh, I hear it.
Potato.
Hello? Oh,
Potato,
I can hear.
potato. Potato,
You good?
potato, potato, potato.
We're live.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay.
Sarah,
Okay.
you got the intro.
Yay. Welcome everyone to episode 41. 2041
Yeah.
of the Force Choke. Force Damn it. Force Choke
Welcome
podcast.
back. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Trent, to
Thank
the the podcast. Trent, of course, we've had on previously. He's an artist for Star Wars Tops. He's done a couple different projects that I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later. But right now, we're just gonna get into the show.
Yes. All right. So once again, Trent, thank you for joining us. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking with you, like Sarah said, on some of the projects that you've been doing since our last time you were on the show. Like you mentioned before the show when we were kind of chatting, been very, very busy man. So and we'd like for you to comment on all the stuff that we're going to talk about prior to us getting into your work with Star Wars. As a matter of fact, right behind Sarah is an amazing piece that you did. Thank you for sharing with us. Your artwork, like, I think it's fantastic. The whole team does, and we appreciate you stopping in and saying hi and getting our fans to get to know you as well. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, we're getting towards the end of the year here, and I was thinking about taking a look back at some of the Star Wars happenings that happened in the year 2018 and kind of remembering what happened and getting everybody's reaction and all that. So
Doing a Star Wars 2018 rewind.
yeah, there you go.
Got it.
Exactly. Well put, Tim. Thank you.
Well,
What were you saying?
no, nothing.
No, okay. All right. So one of the things that I thought was really good was we found out that Billy D. Williams, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill are returning for episode 9.
Oh.
So as a matter of fact, I started following Billy D. on our Force Choke on Instagram, and they showed him like really working out, with a trainer. And so I'm sure he'll be coming back as Lando Calrissian. So apparently Lando has survived all these years, and we'll see him in episode 9. So how do you guys feel about that?
Super
Excited.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Trent?
I just want to stay in the cockpit with Chewie and the Falcon.
Yeah. How about you, Tim?
I'm happy about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said. Being in that Falcon again and meeting. What was her name again? The android.
Oh, LV.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he'll say hello.
Ooh.
That'd
That's
be
a
cute.
that's a
Oh.
good question. That's cool.
All right. Like when he touches the Falcon.
Yeah.
All the lights turn
It'll
on.
be Such good old memories.
Yeah. And so, having Billy D there, I think that's a really great opportunity for them to make, some connections like that with the other films. And the other big one was, we didn't know if Mark Hamill was going to be back for episode 9, the way he passed in The Last Jedi. Some people were thinking, okay, he's done. That's it. You know what I mean? But then we got official word that Mark Hamill's going to be back. And I'm assuming as a Force ghost, or was he projecting himself and then projecting himself somewhere else?
Oh my
Oh my
god. God power.
Do we hit the overthink button?
Right. Tim's like, no, I didn't even think of that.
Sounds like the movie Inception.
Yeah, right. Projected and projected.
Wow.
Dream within a dream within a dream.
Yes.
Oh god.
What do you think, Tim?
You'd see him flip his lightsaber out and spin it if it stops. Is this a real one or not?
It can't be more than a Force Ghost.
Yeah.
If he's alive, I don't know how they explain that in writing.
True. So is he going to show up with Yoda? Like they're going to be talking to Rey together or something like that? What do y'all think?
Maybe it'll be a dream.
Within a dream.
Come to Rey in a dream. No, like
Like
you
a
know,
force dream?
like
or
a
something?
force, like he'll
Force
yeah,
daydream?
insert himself in her dream.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
Talking.
I mean, what we were kind of maybe hoping for last time is kind of like almost have like a pseudo Force Ghost Council.
Mhm.
Like, here's Anakin, here's Yoda, here's Luke, Qui-Gon. Like, didn't they talk about like potentially that last time that they were going to get, like they're there on set for some reason, and what other reason would it have been for Force Ghost or something?
Mm.
So I mean, that'd be just kind of cool. Like, each of them offers some kind of unique experience that they went through to help Rey with what she's doing.
Yeah.
You know, Qui-Gon was a rebel. Yoda has all this experience for being so old. Luke was her last bit towards it. I don't know. But like maybe if they were just all there in spirit, helping her out.
Could that be how they end the movie, maybe?
Well, maybe in her training, because it's supposed to be, what was it, like 2 years difference or something?
I think they're saying like 1 or 2 year jump
Yeah.
from the previous movie to 9.
I got to imagine she's going to have to do some more training. Like, as she's maybe training
You think
her
so?
underlings, that she's going to have to get more in tune to have a chance against Kylo Ren.
You're good. But I wonder, like, and I don't know, y'all can comment on anybody can comment on this, right? And I don't know if this is something that they're doing different, where if you think about it, Yoda on Attack, I think it's Attack of the Clones, when Dooku brings like 3 or 4 rocks from the ceiling down, Yoda is really struggling to stop them and move them.
Yeah.
And in this last movie, Rey was just like,
Yeah.
and then the rocks are just like flying everywhere. It didn't seem like she needed any more help.
Well, there's a
Yeah.
difference between raw power and wisdom. You know, it looked like he was pulling from kind of a strength that he hasn't had to use for in a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of like maybe the whole. Like, I always like think that Vader was like super excited at the end of Rogue One because it's like, oh, I haven't had to do this in a while.
Yeah.
And he's just tearing through people with his lightsaber and
Okay.
stuff. So maybe with Yoda, it's like he can mentor, he can pass guidance or whatever, but it's not like he actually even having to maybe use those skills for as old as he was.
Yeah.
He's force rusty.
Well,
I like that.
I read a theory on Rey that she has that power, like, and you might know of this character. Okay, there was a Jedi named Voss,
Oh yeah.
not Dryden Voss that we got in Solo, but there was another Voss. I don't know if there's a relation that had a power to Quinlan Voss. Yeah. So he could like touch an object and he can see like everything about it, like learn stuff about it, or he can, touch a person and he can get into their thoughts and stuff like that. There's a theory that Rey can do. She's like what she did with the lightsaber. When she grabbed the lightsaber, she started having all those visions that she's getting. Not only is she seeing that, but she's also getting the knowledge, some of that knowledge that the former owners of the lightsaber had. So that's where she's getting her knowledge for fighting from, is from the lightsaber. Or even when she met like Kylo Ren and she grabbed Kylo Ren's thigh, I'm sure that she learned something there too.
Oh, the thigh
Oh,
grab.
Jesus.
You've seen the thigh grab, right?
No.
You haven't?
Oh no.
We'll have to show you after.
When they're fighting in Snoke's chamber or whatever,
The Praetorian
and
guys.
she's just like they're like they're back to back at one point where she's like leaning on his back,
to
and
brace
she
herself.
like braces herself on his thigh.
Yeah.
The infamous thigh.
It's like
Oh, I'm sorry.
I almost they could have put the pop. like they put the Wilhelm screen here and there. They could have put the pop.
What if it's in a Matrix, the Matrix equation thing? She's like one of the only light force users, so she's just extremely powerful.
Could be
Like
because all the light
Agent
is-
Smith and Neo kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all just her.
Yeah.
Maybe. Could be. Possibly. I don't know.
Raw power.
Did Snoke ever touch her? Did she ever touch Snoke?
Yes,
No.
she
She did, right?
put her hand. Well, I mean,
She
she
put
touched,
her-
He touched her.
Maybe that's where she's got that power from.
He touched her.
When he touched her, if that's true. If that theory you're talking about
Yeah,
is
that's
true,
awesome.
then that could be very well possibly be where she got some of that power from, or knowledge of how to unlock that power. So the other thing the other person was Carrie Fisher. So we got word that Carrie Fisher is going to be back in this next episode, and we've touched about it a little bit, but we really never said, do you like that idea or don't you like that idea? I don't think. What do you think?
It's the same thing. Like they can use something that they shot before.
Mhm.
They already said they're not gonna.
CGI somebody? Or,
Right. Yeah. They're not gonna. I'm not gonna say ruin her memory, but
Mhm.
they're not gonna do that. I don't think.
Yeah.
And again, another actress. I mean, you've heard my.
Yes, we had a whole hour and a half dedicated
Yeah,
to
you've
that.
heard my piss fest about getting mad if someone else did.
Yeah.
So I mean, as long as they use like previous footage and they make it work, I mean, I assume that they would. They always have extra things, and if they just orchestrate a certain way, then I think that would be fine.
Yeah. Izzy, you're the big Leia fan here.
I am.
So how do you feel about when they said Leia was going to come back for episode 9?
I'm cool with that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not mad. I think I would be a little upset if I didn't see her. But like, my big issue is like, what are they gonna do with her in this episode?
Is she going to die?
I don't want her to die, but I mean, like, I
She
don't
has
know.
to.
Yeah.
But let's say this is the final movie, right? Let's say it is the final movie. Really, depending on the footage they have,
Mhm.
she doesn't have to.
Yeah.
She doesn't. They could actually maneuver it away where,
She appears at the end.
yeah, you know what I mean? And maybe she hands over the rebel forces or the alliance to Poe or somebody else. And she's like, I'm going to go back home and, or I'm going to learn the Force now or something like
Like
that.
half the
You
movie,
know,
you
but
could
she-
probably just get her voice. Like they just manipulate her voice to talk, and she's saying
Mm-hmm.
certain things.
As long as she's drawing breath, she's not going to walk away. Especially at the very end,
Mhm.
when they're calling for help and like the message has been received, and no one's doing anything. No, I would assume, and I'm not saying she has to, but I think as far as the movie's concerned, like that would be the ultimate rally
Mhm.
for people to join aid to help the resistance. It's like we did nothing. We heard the call. We decided to do nothing. We didn't even communicate, and we allowed Leia to die. Like,
Mhm.
get off your ass and do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that would be the ultimate rally. Because if not, like, oh, she figured a way how to get out of it again. Like, let the old girl do what she's gonna do. Like, I don't think that's the case.
I think you and I have talked about it because, like, it's happened on Rebels and it happened
Oh
on,
God, yeah.
on what was the other one? Rebels and Clone Wars, where they asked
Yeah, yeah.
Mon Mothma for help, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't go help you guys out." You're like, "Again, really?" But I digress.
Taking her off the speed dial.
Right. All right. So let's move on to the next thing that I have here is the San Diego Comic-Con announced that the Clone Wars would be returning for one more season. And finally, fans will get to see the conclusion of the clones story before Anakin and Obi-Wan go into Revenge of the Sith. So I know the girls really haven't watched the Clone Wars. It's just, I thought it was really good, but
Yeah.
I think you see part of it, right?
No, I've seen most of them.
You've seen most of
Yeah.
it, right? And then Tim, you've seen pieces here and there? None of
Yeah,
them?
well, yeah, I've seen pieces here.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
I mean, that's renewed my love for Anakin,
Mhm.
especially Dark Anakin.
Yeah.
Like, they had the right actor. Like, if he was portrayed like that in the Clone Wars, but for Episode 3, I think that it just would have been so much more.
Mhm. Yeah. Trent, did you watch the Clone Wars?
Sure did.
You did? How did you feel about them wanting to finish that up. And
I think it's fabulous that we're getting to actually see what it was supposed to be, because I think the unfortunate thing was it got kind of caught up in the when Disney acquired LFL, and LFL's Disney trying to figure out, okay, where do we go from here now that we've now
that we have
that we own it.
Yeah.
And they had made a decision basically just to do starting it on their own.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things went, like there's several video games and everything that were in that process kind of went at that time. No, I think it's actually great that we're going to get the I guess the proper ending.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think what they did with Ahsoka to end it, it was, let's say, it was good enough, but it didn't feel like a total completion.
No, it didn't wrap us up to where we got to with Seth.
Yeah, exactly. So when I heard about this, I was really excited about that because I really enjoyed that series. And like Micah said, he loved the way they portrayed Anakin throughout the entire season, from where it started to where it ended. And now we're going to get really the way it should have ended, and there should be some really great stories in there as well. So really looking forward to the Clone Wars. That's next year?
Yes.
I think, right?
So 2019 or 2020?
2019.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're still 2018.
I get that, but I thought you're pulling that joke. It's like December 31st. I'll see you next year. Ooh.
It's so far away.
I think it's supposed to be part of the streaming service when it starts.
Yeah.
Oh,
I believe
sweet.
Yeah. And
I'm gonna take the entire month off and just watch everything.
burn through it. Trent, you brought up another great point, and we'll kind of get into it more here, but you brought up that Disney had canceled some video games too, and one of them was, I think, called 1331, level 1331 or something like that.
It was a number like 1414 or something.
Yeah, some number like that. And it was supposed to be like on Coruscant, the levels that go down into it. So, and they got some of the I think some of the look of the Mandalorian armor from that series, what that video game would have been. But I remember seeing like a promo for it, or like and it looked really, really, really good. But unfortunately, they didn't finish that up. So but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. All right. So Trent, did you watch the Rebels series?
I did.
You did? Okay. And one thing that I wanted to bring up, because I know I watched the entire series, and I think Tim saw a couple of the series, but there was one or two episodes in particular that I wanted to talk about.
Sorry.
And it was.
I'm about to ask one of my questions for Trent.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Do you want me to wait?
No, you can do it.
Okay. So
I don't have anything left.
on,
my questions.
on the Rebels finale, it was beautiful, powerful, shocking, yet thought-provoking. So we have Ezra and Thrawn disappearing through a hyperspace time jump, and the reappearance of an older Ahsoka Tano, who, along with Hera Syndulla and her child from now deceased Jedi Kanan Jarrus, and then they're going to go off to find Ezra. So
I think it was Sabine.
Was it Sabine?
Yeah, I think it's.
It's
Sabine with
you're
Ahsoka
right.
going off to look for Ezra.
You're right. That's
and
right.
Hera staying with her child.
With her child. There you go. I'm sorry. Shame. I was just taking this from memory. But so we're curious, when is the rest of this story gonna unfold? When are we gonna see Ezra again, or are they gonna come back to that? I wonder, somewhere in another movie series or another cartoon series or something like that. I thought it ended really poetically. I enjoyed it. And I think did y'all watch it with
We
us?
watched it.
Right? I mean, how did y'all feel about it?
It made me want to watch what happened prior to that, just because I didn't know what happened to Ahsoka, because she was in Rebels in the beginning, right? Okay. So it made me want to watch the rest of the series.
Yeah. You
Why
look
are you
confused.
laughing over there, man?
What? We watched it?
Did someone make a comment?
I want to do a rebuttal, but I don't want to be mean.
Really? For the first time today? You don't want to be mean.
We're live. I mean,
he'll be mean after.
I know.
After
yeah,
the
in
camera's
private.
off.
So it stings just a little bit less.
can't leave visible scars.
Oh my god. You don't remember watching it? I think you were.
But the
Not even
remember they have
there.
like the Rainbow Road Time Road kind of thing when they go into the portals.
Oh, I
Oh.
remember that. And then something was chasing them, right? And they were like running around.
Yes.
I was confused.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey,
But it was interesting
Big
because
doggy, huge doggy.
it was
I'm
really
sorry,
cool
I'm
because
losing
they had like these huge squid whale things
Mhm.
that they themselves could go into hyperspace.
Yeah.
That was pretty.
Oh,
I mean, that was interesting.
What? I don't remember that.
Uh huh.
Squid whales?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what
I don't remember that.
that's what they used to teach on in Ezra.
Yeah. After,
Was it
Maybe.
Ranthars? Was it?
No.
no.
That'd be
Rathars, no.
Ranthars.
No. But I thought it was really cool. You know, I mean, who knows where he went? The unknown region.
Well, that's what I've kind of speculated between the ending of Battlefront 2 and what we saw with Rebels. I feel like there's just going to be this culmination that potentially maybe we get to see him in Episode 9 because they're talking about going to like the systems on the Outer Rim and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the daughter of Ida Versio and whatnot.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's just something that I want to see, but
Mhm.
it just seems like they wouldn't be adding all this stuff and just like, oh, forget about it. We'll come back to the story that makes sense for in 10 years, 15
Yeah.
years, 20 years. I mean, they could, but if you're looking for a real big boom, big bombastic finale in Episode 9, bringing back J.J. Abrams, nice bow as we've talked about,
Mm-hmm.
it would make sense.
Very true. Very true. So, moving on from that.
Do you disagree, Tim?
Bombastic.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the bombastic.
He doesn't know
Also-
bombastic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, someone said, I was hoping someone said Mr. Fantastic.
I was
I
thinking
wanted
that
to. I wanted
It was in my head.
Mr. Whoa.
So, they've talked about, I'm gonna put it this way. I remember when I was working at a different store, right? And this was like, maybe like almost 10 years ago, at least now. They were talking about making a Star Wars live action TV show way back then. And it seems like, well, we're finally going to get one. Finally, two, right? Yeah, exactly. We're going to get two.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And the first one I want to talk about is The Mandalorian. So we've gotten a couple of pictures, as a matter of fact. I think the second one was, no.
What was this? I think that was just
We've
talking about the
seen-
still of IG-88.
Yeah, I think that's the third picture,
The
though.
second one was with the rifle.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
the first
Right.
one was the set,
Did I miss that?
right? Or the
The only picture I remember
Never
was like them in the Mandalorian armor. Walking
There's
through
that
the
one.
desert.
And then there was a
So-
picture of the rifle.
Yeah, so
The
rifle
case.
is slung over his shoulder. It looks similar to the one that the animated Boba Fett had.
Mm-hmm. With the kind of like
with the tongs at the end of
at
it.
the end of it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Maybe I
it-
just don't remember it.
we
Mhm.
talked
It sounds
about it.
vaguely familiar, but
Right.
I just can't think of it.
We talked about
yeah,
it.
we talked a little bit about it. Yeah. She got you.
Kidding.
I have one in my back pocket right now. Don't use it on this, Sarah.
So how do y'all feel about that? Yeah.
Excited.
Because we got some casting of that movie now.
God,
Who's
isn't
gonna
it-
be on that show too?
All-star
Find
cast,
my
man.
questions.
Oh my god!
I told you. Let's just keep on. Let's keep
I'm
it
just
going.
barely maneuvering.
So,
30 minutes later, Tim's like,
No questions.
Trent, how was your day?
Have you tried the new restaurant?
What were you asking?
What are your favorite shoe brands?
The casting for the Mandalorian.
Oh yeah. I think that's a good cast. They got a couple old folks in there. I don't know how long.
Old folks.
Wow.
Let us reel that back in. What are you talking about?
Carl Weathers and
Oh, that's
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte. Yeah. They got both
Grizzled.
those guys in there.
Grizzled.
Old timers.
Jesus Christ, are they going to be wheeled in a wheelchair?
Like,
Hey, they're on set. Act.
I said throw the damn towel.
Good for them for casting those guys.
Yeah.
We got
For Nick Nolte's career. No, I mean, what?
You got
No,
someone
just-
from. I think we got someone from Mad Men. I think it was. Got someone from.
Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, Game of Thrones. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a huge.
Oh,
That's
he's
the
Oberyn, right?
Oberyn Martell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro
Okay.
Pascal.
Yes.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's the potential lead role, and I think it'd have to be the lead role.
Yeah, they already
So-
announced that he is, right?
Okay.
What's that?
That Pedro Pascal is going to be the
He's the
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's what I thought was weird because at one point they said like he has the lead role, and I'm like, well, it doesn't confirm that he's a Mandalorian. But then like the next thing Disney
Yeah.
said, I think it was from Disney or it was Star Wars, like, and then it said Pedro Pascal is the Mandalorian. I'm like,
You're like, oh.
come on, I was like, y'all could do better than that. He's the lead role. What does that mean? Who knows?
You want to
I guess the only one that I wasn't sure about in the cast was that girl Gina. I think she's like a former UFC
Uh-huh.
fighter. She's been in a couple of action movies.
No, I think she'd do good.
Uh,
Maybe
that's probably why they casted her for Florida film for
Yeah.
that action.
I think she'd be a good like sidekick or something like that.
Wasn't she the one with Fast and Furious?
Yeah, that's.
Mhm.
Oh, didn't we talk
Did
She
about
was an
that?
X-Men.
We were like freaking out.
Is he on X-Men?
Well,
or-
Tim,
I think
Tim's
so.
pulling old information because he ran out of questions. Leave him
Yeah.
alone, guys.
I'm sorry, Tim. We should have compared notes.
Oh, Deadpool.
Yeah.
She was in Deadpool.
What
That's
that?
close.
Yeah.
She was this lady.
This lady.
The chick
I am a lady.
in the first one. That's all I got.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
her.
Mhm.
Oh,
So excited about that. You
I think
excited
she'd be a
about
good
that? Tess?
antagonist.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm ready for that.
I
But
look forward to watching that entire show. Every episode.
we should do like a watch show or something, a watch party
Yeah.
to see that. You know what I mean?
I would do that. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I don't like to watch things on my own.
Yeah, because you never watch it.
I'm so weird.
She's like, yeah, guys, I'm gonna watch it. I'm watching it. Hey, did you watch it?
No.
I didn't watch it.
It's
It's
a watch party. I'll watch anything. Teletubbies.
oh my God. We've talked about the Teletubbies. Let's not go there.
Oh, Jesus, we have. Stay away from Tim and his fantasy.
What?
Oh, that's right.
He
I
points
missed
to-
it. Oh.
Okay.
Talking about fantasy football.
Yes. They got all
Misunderstandings.
misconstrued. Yeah.
Left out the football part.
Well, fantasy football's over, so let's not. go
Yeah.
that way.
So that's another thing that's going to be on the Disney streaming, right?
When is it released? October?
October. Is it? They just said the end, right?
They're talking October, November.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think they want like a 2-month
Sorry.
window before episode 9.
Mhm.
Mm.
And so that would be our first live action, right, for the Star Wars universe. And then the other, before we go to the other one, the number 5 that I have, kind of looking back at 2018 was Darth Maul comes back in the live action at the end of Solo, Star Wars story, to reveal he's the leader of Crimson Dawn, and our jaw hit the floor. So, how did you feel about that, Trent? He's looking over your shoulder right there, so just be careful what you say.
As a matter of fact, he's
No,
looking in your direction.
Generally.
Oh God!
No, I thought that was fabulous. I thought that was fabulous that they weren't trying to just do their own thing throughout the whole film, that they were bringing on all these different elements. And it, of course, made me have some questions of where we left Maul on Clone Wars
Mhm.
up to. This obviously takes place before Rebels, so
Yeah,
I'd like to see all the connecting pieces.
Yes.
But no, I thought that was brilliant. As soon as I saw him, I was like, thank God he's back.
Yes. I know.
I was surprised.
Micah was sitting next
So I was
to
like,
me, and I would nudged him. I was like, is that Sidious? Because they just kind of showed from the cloak
Yeah.
coming from around this way, and I was like, that's Sidious. Is that Sidious? and then it turned out to be Maul. We're all freaking out. So I thought it was great. It was great.
He's my favorite Sith, so
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
And then in the next solo movie, they pull like
Hopefully they do another one.
the lightsaber over the shoulder, be like, Darth Maul, I'll be back in a few years. And then that's all we get. Right at the beginning. It's like, all right, we got him now. He's thinking.
I
So
would
he
imagine
becomes
seeing-
the Thanos. He becomes the Thanos for Star Wars. He
Yeah.
shows up in the end credits every movie until he finally gets his own movie.
That'd be awesome.
Well, I mean, we have a hell of an actor to play him too. So
Yeah.
it's like, why don't waste that time?
And Ray Park. I mean, I don't know
Beast, man.
if you've seen him on Instagram. I mean,
Yeah, I
he's
follow
like-
him. He's constantly pushing himself.
Oh yeah.
He's going for it.
Mhm. So I mean, I think I would love to see.
God, can you imagine seeing the Darksaber on screen now?
I could.
That would be sick.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
There you go, Timothy. You're gonna need 2 pins. You're gonna need both hands to scratch stuff out.
My bad.
He's
buddy.
gone to the red pen. So.
Yeah. But yeah, we really enjoyed Darth Maul coming back there. So that's my number 5. Number 6 was the other live action that you alluded to there, Trent, was that Cassian Andor is going to get his own show. And then they announced Diego Luna will reprise his role from Rogue One. It'll take place during the birth of the rebellion. And as Cassian wheels and deals in the world of intergalactic espionage. And that one is expected to start filming in 2019. So that's a couple of days away. Maybe they start at the beginning, the middle,
Mandalorian, a little bit of a
get a
lead
little
time,
lead time.
Yeah.
and then they'll kick into that.
Mhm.
I think you might have a 6-month runtime.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. Because you have 2 of them. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's too much. Too
You're
much. And
going
then we
to
got
have
to move
Mandalorian and Clone Wars
Yeah.
hitting at the same
at the
time.
same time.
So I think they're trying to feel out.
Yeah.
And give at least for the audience, paying for the service, like there's constantly new content.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. If you dump all the new content at once, then
Yeah.
you're going to have eventually a lull,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
or they're going to be, reaching for something that
Yeah.
they don't necessarily have.
I mean, hell, at some point in time, they might have such great success with it that it might be like, okay, we have this show coming back for its 2nd, 3rd season, and then 2 months later we have the new show we're bringing out. 2 months later we have this other show coming back for the 2nd, 3rd season, whatever.
I'm glad.
Like it may come to a point like that, but yeah, in the beginning, I think they want to be careful just to make sure, like, oh, okay, I watched all your content. What's next? Dude, it's only been out a month.
I'm kind of glad you brought that up right now, Micah, because it kind of
Are you?
kind of put a light bulb over my head. What if they get, instead of a movie for Darth Maul, they give him a series where you would get so much more content, and they're spending money, some major like motion picture money. I know Tim was talking about it a couple of episodes ago on our show, where they're not like, okay, let's just make a show and get it out there. They're putting
You're
some,
spending about $10 million an episode. Right?
yeah, So
Yeah.
what if they could do a Maul series, 4 or 5 seasons, so we can get some of those answers that you were talking about, his time with Crimson Dawn. You know what I mean? I think that would be
That'd be awesome.
really cool, And then if you think about it, I forgot what her name, Emilia Clarke.
Emilia Clarke.
Right, she'll be done with Game of Thrones.
Should have really done. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe this can be an opportunity for maybe something to be
Yeah.
sprung out of that. You know what I mean? It seemed like
She had a really prominent role.
yeah, and it seemed like she liked her, her role in that movie. So, just something to think about there. You know what I mean? All right. So, and one thing I want to give you props for, Tim, as far as the what is it called? What did I just talk about?
Get ready to mark out your next question. Too.
No, the Cassian Andor TV series.
Oh yeah.
Well, you kind of called that. You're like, Cassian Andor. This is a really good character.
Yeah,
I think
that's
people.
one of the best characters in that movie.
Yeah, and I think you even called I think people are going to want to see more of this character, and all of a sudden now we're seeing that he's getting his own TV series. So props to you, bro.
It was honestly funny because I actually thought I had heard a whole bunch of things before they announced The Mandalorian, and I honestly had heard about this TV series before The Mandalorian was announced, and I honestly thought that was going to be the TV series.
Oh, okay.
But we were never clear on if it was Cassian or the other rumor was going to be about Saw Gerrera and his rebel faction.
Okay.
So that actually came up first, and when they announced The Mandalorian, I thought, oh, well, somebody lied to me all this time.
Yeah. You're like, dang it.
And then when they announced the Cassian thing, I was like, that's it. So it was real.
It was
all this time,
real,
all
yeah.
this that I heard about. So it's kind of interesting.
Nice. Yeah, and that's it's funny how rumors like that get out, and then you're like, and then all of a sudden it does become true. So.
Well, yeah, like was the rumor for the Boba Fett movie? Like there was nothing ever officially confirmed, and then they finally later on officially confirmed that there was going to be a movie. It's like no official confirmation about a movie, but here's official denial that there won't be it. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
Well, they announced at one point James Mangold was the director, so you thought it was going to happen for just a brief moment right before Solo came out. They announced that James Mangold was going to be the director for Boba Fett, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah, switched it off.
He switched it all off.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, the next thing I got is this year, Star Wars launched Resistance, which is a new Star Wars animated series about ace flyers post Return of the Jedi. And I think I'm the only one that's seen it here. So let's move on. All right. So in the novel, there's a novel, Last Shot. And I don't know who the novel is by in the notes that I have here. Well, in the novel Last Shot, and I didn't know this, Ben Solo, a young Ben Solo, called Lando Uncle Wanwo, and it says it's so dark considering the direction young Ben ends up taking later in his life. Will Lando be in a self-sacrifice situation or swoop in to save the day? Maybe in episode 9 is what I think they're talking about. So,
He won't swoop in. We talked about that.
Talk to us, Tim. Talk to us about Lando.
Did we say that? What was the one thing we argued about the
Like, is he
the Kylo Ren and Solo scene and like just having someone swoop in and like say that they didn't have to die or something like that? What was that?
I don't remember, man.
Were we talking about Lando making an appearance?
I think we thought he was going to make an appearance in this last one.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. I was
Yeah.
hoping you could
But,
bring back that.
I don't know if...
Well, depending upon the kind of life he's led, like if he never like settled down or anything, and that was the closest thing he had. Well, kind of like when Chewie shot Kylo Ren, it's like you got to imagine, like, and I've never seen a picture. They finally did, like, someone did an animation on it, but it's like you got to imagine, like, Chewie's playing with, Ben Solo as a young kid, like putting him on his shoulders, running around, having fun with him, like almost like a kid of his own. How close he was with Han and everything, and then he's like, oh, he just killed my best friend. Now I have to shoot you. You got to imagine there's got to be maybe potentially a similar effect when Lando sees, like, God damn it, kid.
Yeah.
You're messing up. You're killing your family. You're messing up.
So I'm curious. I mean, it could go either way. You're very, 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 you're correct in that sense,
There's something interesting about that, and especially the original trilogy. Harrison Ford wanted to die in Empire.
Yes.
Right? He argued that point,
Mm-hmm.
and he finally got his death in Force Awakens. Return of the Jedi, Lando Calrissian was supposed to die at the end of that movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. So maybe he's going to get his death in episode 9.
True. Oh, my goodness.
Like at the end, like maybe he doesn't escape the run through the Death Star.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually scripted, but they changed it because they didn't want to go out with,
Mm-hmm.
they did. I guess Lucas decided he just didn't want that much of a sacrifice.
Yeah. Wow. So this might be really dark, episode 9. You know what I mean? Because Kylo Ren, he's taking out his dad.
The Prince.
Maybe
of
he takes
Darkness.
out who would you consider almost like his uncle
Yeah.
in Lando, and I mean, who knows what happens with Chewbacca or Leia? Oh my gosh! So there's so many things that could happen, and Sarah looks like she's sick. No,
I'm not
I
having
No.
it.
I'm
not having
I
it.
just saw Chewie as like one of those bearskin rugs. On the
Oh no!
Oh, shit.
Y'all wanted it dark. It got dark.
You're all laid out, just curling.
It was
Replace them
bad.
with a wampa. Put a wampa in them.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a wampa. It's not
It's-
true.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Like every
It's
time-
okay. It's okay. You're
Every
gonna
time,
be okay.
every time that carpet or whatever, it, like goes on the surface and moves.
Oh no! Oh gosh! You're horrible. You're a monster.
I mean, he ate the port. It doesn't pour.
No.
Come on.
Oh, God. Wow. All right. Next to the last thing I wanted to talk about was once again going back to Rebels. I don't know. Do you have the
Rebel
time?
question?
Yeah, the time thing. Or no?
I do have it.
I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that for you then.
We're gonna leave you with
You
one.
do? I'm gonna leave you that
So-
one.
You get one question.
So my last one is let's see. Okay, so this is my last one because I'm gonna leave that one for you, Tim. Darth Vader in the Darth Vader comic series, it delves deeper into the dark side. The idea that the dark side could bring people back from the dead is what seduced Anakin Skywalker in the first place. In Darth Vader number 23, we actually get to see this happening, and it opens up terrifying new doors as far as the Star Wars universe is concerned. So bringing people back from the dead, that's, kind of, borderline, they've talked about that, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
because Kylo Ren was supposed to be like collecting artifacts from Darth Vader. right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Like the helmet and stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm. And he wanted the saber.
He brings back Vader somehow. Who
Oh,
awoken me
God.
from my slumber?
I
He
wonder-
has his ashes also.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because there was a story, or I think it was like one of the books, and I just remember reading like the inside of it or whatever. But like at Maz's palace, like I think it was like the girl who was contacting, I think the First Order, like she was supposed to be kind of like somehow she retrieved the package, and they never named who it was for, but the package came from Endor. And it was supposed to be potentially like his ashes or something, but I think it was something more. In that it was they very much made it believe like she was collecting what was something of Darth Vader's, and she was going to be handing it off to Kylo Ren, like him just collecting all this stuff.
Mm.
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Maybe enough to like bring back his spirit.
Possibly.
Because would there be a possible way? I mean, you have Anakin as a Force ghost. Is there any way to potentially like bring back his spirit, like independent of that, but like just like his hatred, like as Vader?
I don't know if there's a precedent for that. Is there?
Did it? Sheevan Plagueis were able to. Well, life from birth wasn't. They would have to do it all over again.
What do you
I mean, if Kylo knew about that,
Mhm.
like how Rey she has the books, the code, and she knows all that stuff.
Hmm.
But Kylo Ren also knows what they taught Anakin from Palpatine about bringing about life using the dark. So and he would do that to bring back Vader, but it would be Anakin all reincarnated, but like starting from a child again.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Hmm.
Like someone putting the spirit into a womb or something like that,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Oh, so we'll get that line again. No, this is Pod Race.
That's how episode 9 ends with Rey being pregnant.
Oh shit.
Doesn't know how.
He is one. Yes.
Trent knows something. You called it, Tim. You called it.
And then
You did it again.
I'm like staring at Trent now, like,
Yeah, is it
Sir?
true? You gotta tell us. Oh my goodness.
I'll raise you a trading card.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, that opens up. I mean, there's some dark things about Star Wars. You know what I mean? No doubt about it. But raising people from the dead, that's something that we haven't seen.
We saw a cool fan trailer recently with the zombie troopers. They look like they were zombies.
I didn't see
Fan
Did we see
trailer.
that? Maybe I saw it.
You said, well, talk
I'm
to us
gonna have
about
to look
it.
it up. You showed me the trailer.
I did.
Yes, you did.
What?
You showed me. No, you didn't.
I don't remember that.
Sam's
They
fantasy
almost
again.
looked like they were Walking Dead.
Probably was.
Just an armor.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
You have to send it back to me so I can
Yeah,
watch it.
But I mean, we never seen anything about like Sith Alchemy on screen, right?
Mm-mm. No.
Have we even seen
Well,
it in any of the
we-
animation stuff?
In the animation stuff, we've seen like sorcery and stuff from the like Night Sisters. You know what I mean? But
Oh,
it's
but
not
I mean,
necessarily
nothing-
like Sith or anything.
Nothing
like
Sith
that.
related.
Yeah. So there's like a green.
I'm so excited because I know Abrams is gonna do a great job.
Okay.
I'm just super curious what he's gonna do, and like, will the 2.5 hours be enough?
Well, let's ask Trent. Trent, do you think that this is the last film? Because we've talked on the show.
That is what I'm
Damn it! No, sorry, Tim. Let's go into your
That's
questions.
actually one of my questions.
Let's
I'm
go.
not kidding.
Yeah. Let's end this segment.
If it's not word for word, I don't believe
Let
you.
me look it up and see where.
Put it on the screen.
It's almost.
I don't want to steal your
It's
thunder.
almost
Tim.
word for word. I said episode 9. Is this the final chapter of the Skywalker family and the beginning of a new era? I guess it's time.
We can talk a little bit more about this. So, what do you think, Trent?
Tim, he said it first, so I mean,
Yeah. It's like my thunder.
From all indication, 9 is supposed to be it for the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
from indication.
from indication. So, what we have talked about on the show was that there's no, once again, precedent set for it, but the trend for a lot of series nowadays is like, so we got episode 9 coming up. We got episode 9A and 9B.
Oh, the division.
Yeah, would you like something like that, or?
Oh, I'd like to. Yeah, if they
Right?
if they decided to go that route,
Mhm.
I don't think they're going to.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'd be all up for it. There's been several successful franchises where they divided the last film up into 2 pieces.
yeah. And my only argument for that was, then you got a box set of pretty much 1 through 10. Make it
I
around
think
10.
I actually would prefer to end on 10 than 9. But,
Right? Yeah, me too.
yeah, I think 9 will be. From what I understand, 9's it.
9's it. And so Micah brought up a good point along those lines.
You giving me praise again?
Well, I don't know. Praise is a strong word.
That was opening up.
But
Oh, is this a Tim
Is-
question?
no, is 2.5 hours long enough to finish that story? Sarah says no.
I'd say it all depends on what the economy of what Abrams can do in that 2.5 hours.
Mhm.
It takes a really smart writer and a director to economically be able to put all those things in a path that you can follow and concise. And that,
Yeah.
so I've seen some directors that can do that. And
Mhm.
there's some directors that don't have that.
Yeah,
It just depends on who's actually working on the material.
yeah,
I've seen plenty of Abrams stuff, but I'm not sure that 2.5 is long enough, honestly,
yeah.
because I'm trying to be careful here.
Yes, absolutely.
I just feel like there were so many questions that have not been answered.
Yeah,
Way too many questions that haven't been answered. And I know those are questions that were purposely put there by Abrams to begin with.
Mhm.
So,
yeah,
how he's going to wrap that up, I'm not sure.
yeah. And then I think that's probably what Sarah was thinking too. Like, well, what about this?
Yeah.
And what about that? But now, okay, if that, then what about this then? You know what I mean? Not on specifics, but we do have, like you said, a lot of questions, and it's like you kind of, I don't think you want a movie where it's like, okay, we just answered that
Like
question.
boom, 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 boom. Answer,
Okay.
answer.
And
Yeah.
okay, we're done.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's
Yeah.
not forget Abrams did Lost, and they left that like all open, didn't they?
I never
Don't-
saw Lost.
Because
Yes, they did.
he did it for 3 seasons, and ABC, I guess, threw so much money at him, and he did it into 7 seasons, and it didn't make sense. But there's so many answers supposedly that were
Please
left
explain.
unanswered.
He's like, let's figure it out yourself.
Yeah, it's like it's
Uh,
up to your interpretation.
ah,
I'm hoping that he does it, and I think the smartest way to answer questions is to let the audience discover within the film.
mhm.
Don't just slap them over the head with the answer.
Yeah.
But they become a discovery in the film.
Yeah.
you know, and I'm hoping that that's how he handles it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just moves organic too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, don't get me wrong, like 2.5 hours of like, yeah, but it's like, okay, that seemed like it was real rigid. That transition from this scene to this scene to this scene, kind of thing. And so I would bring the next question: maybe if this is the finale, if this is the finale of the trilogies, for episode 9, potentially the Skywalker Bloodline, could we possibly see a 3-hour movie if they're not going to do a second one? Because Infinity or Endgame now for the last Avengers film for this point, I guess.
Yeah.
They're saying the Russo brothers have come out and said this is probably going to be pushed in 3 hours because there's just so much that you have to have it there
Yeah.
to have this complete thought, this complete story
Mhm.
finalized into the parameters of what the film is. So I'm wondering if Abrams can make it work, but it's like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I
pushing
think- I
2:45.
think there's been a couple of Transformer movies that pushed the 3-hour mark as well. So that's not out of the realm of possibilities either. You know what I mean?
I think it all depends on Disney's going to make that ultimate decision because they obviously have concerns right now of how things are going. I think with the franchise, and I know that some studios they don't want to push for a very long movie because they want to have as many screenings as possible, whereas other ones they're just like, we want the best movie out there, and
Yeah.
people will come no matter what. I think it depends on what they decide from the top on that.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine that Abrams would go ahead and make the complete movie he wants to, but it's going to be up to somebody else from the top saying, okay, we want this to be we want this to be in a certain time frame so we can have this many screenings because this is money,
Yeah.
that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So you have those two things.
True. That's, I mean, there's so many components to
It's a
it.
5-hour film. There's an intermission. You get to go to the restroom.
Oh my goodness. No restroom. You sit down.
I just thought the intermission thing from Kill Bill.
Yeah.
The real 70s vibe.
Yes. Very nice.
Intermission and
Right.
music in the back.
The little.
Comes
Oh my goodness. Wow.
on for 15 seconds. Sit down.
Tim,
Yes.
that was a good question.
Yeah, it was good.
What else you got, man?
It's like my only one.
Well, that's all I got.
All right. So the next question was
Dig deep, Tim.
pretty trivial. This is pretty deep. Trivial. A couple episodes ago. I want to know what your thoughts are on it. So with virtual reality and 4D
Oh,
technology.
jeez.
Yes.
With virtual reality and 4D technology, as well as Disney's new theme parks, own unique personal experiences, Star Wars experiences, as examples, where do you see the future of Star Wars going, including the future of entertainment, not just Star Wars?
Do you really want to go down this rabbit hole?
Again.
I don't want
Again.
Is it?
Come on.
Is it?
We want to know what
Is it
you're
evolving?
Okay.
Is there going to be change soon? Do you feel like?
I can already tell you there's changes coming.
nice.
But to be perfectly honest, I haven't thought completely about I've been kind of in a vacuum. They put me in a vacuum. So what I work on
What was the-
is
vacuum seal.
I
Oh,
tend to
okay.
get separated from, the other things. But from what I understand that, yes, they are looking into different avenues. But what those are, I couldn't tell you. I honestly have no idea. Like I said, with the amount of work that they pour on you, you end up staying in a vacuum. on just working on that part. I guess that's the reason why they have so many people working on separate things. You all stay in a vacuum, but it all comes to a head to one
Together.
big thing,
Excellent. Micromanaging. Michael, take note.
Take note. Take note of what? I already have all your
The
notes.
future. Future, damn it.
Eggheart, think about
Oh,
the
man, we were
future.
arguing so much about that.
Yeah.
It was getting loud in here.
Eh.
All right. So, yeah, then we talked about, you had that question about, you're going to talk about Rebels, a little bit more about the time part. So that it was something that was groundbreaking. And if you've seen Rebels, you know what had happened in the show where it really shook the Star Wars universe.
I'm talking about the time travel.
Yes, exactly. So,
Yes.
Yes.
These guys had not been up to date with Rebels. And I had seen that episode, and we were going to have a podcast like a day or two after that. And I said, y'all need to come over maybe like 30 minutes earlier because y'all need to see this episode. They're like, well, we haven't been watching it. We don't know what's good. Yeah, it doesn't even matter. You just got to see this. And so I
Like how he's throwing us all under the bus. Right
I'm just saying, whether you want to watch it or not.
yeah,
that's
you're a
up
Star
to
Wars
you,
fan.
man.
You're not watching the show.
Whatever. But I know Tim was like, really, he was just like fixated on the whole time thing, and I think these guys were too. But it afterwards, I think Tim and I were really talking about possibilities.
Because I'm really big on like sci-fi movies or sci-fi shows, anything sci-fi like I'm into. And so so that's why I was like really like
Jason
focused on
X.
what they were doing
Sorry.
with the show, and but not just the show, but it opens things up for so many possibilities. My question was, will Star Wars use the path of the world between worlds in any upcoming story arcs? And this can be in the past or the future. And for example, Lewis was saying earlier, Luke is coming back in the next episode. Is it possible that they use the time gates to bring back Luke Skywalker?
Guess who's back?
Oh, sorry for. Well, yeah, let's leave it there. That's just an example. What do you feel? Is that a one and done thing, or are they going to expand on this?
Here's what I can
Game
tell you.
changer.
What the impressions I've gotten from what happens with the films and what happens within the cartoons. Everything that Dave Filoni seems to do seems to be off on his, and it's totally separate from what's happening in the films.
Mhm.
And Abrams is doing his thing, and they're allowing Filoni to do his thing on the side. They don't seem to be cross-pollinating at this point.
So what Dave Filoni does in The Mandalorian won't translate over to.
No, that's Jon Favreau.
But I think
Dave Filoni is going to be directing some episodes for Jon
that's
Favreau.
right.
though.
I forgot about
So, possibly in the television series, you could see some cross-pollination there. But I'm not sure you're going to see anything like that as far as the Skywalker saga. But that's just from the little bits that I heard. I don't hear everything. Trust me, I don't hear everything. I'm in the dark a lot, but every once in a while we get some tidbits here and there, and that's the essence of what we've kind of understood. Because especially when we get projects to work on, sometimes we're outright told, "No, you can't work on that." Even though you're working on a saga-based project, we're actually saying you can't have this at all, and you're like, "Why?" It's all apart, but they've got a reason for it, and that's just that's what we've all kind of started to understand. It seems like anything that Filoni's created, that's going to be his world in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Abrams is going to do his own thing with 9.
Yeah.
If they cross-pollinate, that'd be great. I would love to see, because it means everything starts to come together even more so. But my understanding is that's 2 separate deals.
Okay.
I hope I'm not. I mean, shut me down if I'm asking anything
Stop it.
too specific.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Trent. He needs
This
that.
is- this-
he needs that every once in a while.
He's restrained. Micah Unchained. But I guess with that, I guess when like philosophy, if you will, here's Filoni's, here's Abrams kind of thing. Is that, would you say that would also have to go as far as maybe characters like Ahsoka? We haven't seen her on live screen.
Yeah.
You think she's going to be bound to just pretty much Filoni's kind of stuff?
That's the impression
I mean,
I've
for
gotten.
now.
That's
Okay.
the impression I've gotten from the way they've separated. They've wanted us to separate, keep things separate from one another.
Okay.
They've really made a point, especially on what are generally supposed to be projects that are conducive with everything. They'll have this fine line in there in the contract saying absolutely nothing of this will be in this set,
Okay.
in this project. And we've had lots of little things like that before, but they all seem to line up where they want those separate.
Okay.
Yeah. I would love to see Ahsoka on live and film or on the TV series. I want to see anything with her.
I think
Well, because I think they asked like Rosario Dawson, and then they had like a mock up of what she would look like. I'm like, what are we waiting for?
yeah. I'm totally down for that. I
As
could
long
be
as it's
wrong,
Dave
but-
Filoni, it'll happen.
Huh?
If Dave Filoni made the film, then Dave Filoni would then bring on the character.
It's she's kind of his property in a sense, as far as I think the way Disney and LFL assign things. They're like, this is what Dave brought to the table.
yeah.
This is what Abrams is bringing to the table over here, and such and such.
So we will see the Knights of Ren then. God, I hope I see that.
I think
Sorry.
we will.
Yes.
I think Micah has been really highly anticipating them to see
Oh,
what they're all about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Even I have, it's we got just a split second of just seeing them,
Yeah.
Mhm.
But they created so much mystery around them just for that little bit of time,
Mhm.
When
I
saw
mean,
this-
even if they're just the Boba Fett of episode 9, then fine,
Yeah.
at least we get some kind of information about them.
Definitely. When I saw him, it was love at first sight.
So, what
Well,
else you got, Tim?
I don't know if
Oh, go
we've talked about that, but I think it might have been just like a recent rumor or something.
What Nate brought up?
Did Nate bring it up? I can't remember where I remember it
Was
from.
it you talking
But
about the planet that they were filming? They were
no, oh
they
no.
were filming for?
That, but like we've talked about it before, like potentially like when we broke down the Force Vision scene and the Force Awakens, it's like everything seems to be inhabiting like where the lightsabers been, like all the visions she's having and stuff. So then we have the scene where it's the Knights of Ren, and we see a lot of dead bodies. It looks like, and then he's being struck from behind this guy or whatever. He might have brought it up, I don't remember. But it's like, okay, some of these things we're not entirely sure, like where they passed. Well, some things we know were past, but some things obviously are future, but some things we don't know about yet. And then so that maybe that Knights of Ren scene specifically where Kylo Ren's piercing the guy from the back, and it's like, okay, that may not be Rey, but potentially that lightsaber is there. Will we get to see that in the next film? Because of the way the guy was dressed.
The way his dress, the way he was dressed, and then the helmet he was wearing.
That kind of
It looked like it was kind of a rebel soldier or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
so the rumor was they were filming for this planet to be swampy,
Mhm.
and then
I don't
also
remember hearing about this part though.
and it was also supposed to be like, I guess, wet and raining, and you would have, according to this rumor, there was artwork done for it. I think the concept for that, that character with the helmet and what they were wearing, where they're using that as a disguise where they can come up from the ground. The resistance would be using it. It was what was told was the resistance was using this uniform on this planet, and that's when he made the connection that vision that Rey has, where Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren, and you see Kylo stab that person. The person looks like that concept artwork that they had for the supposed filming.
Yeah, and it seems like it all could line up for it because we see the Force scene at the end of the finale of Episode 7, and inside the Force vision we see Kylo Ren, but he's wearing the helmet.
Mhm.
and then in actuality he wasn't. So like it could be like a premonition aspect.
And there is another rumor that Kylo Ren is going to have his helmet back, but from what I'm hearing, it's going to have like almost like a red crystalline,
Oh, I saw that.
like kind of like Mondo to put it back together or something like that. Have you heard anything?
Yeah, I've heard it's supposed to be kind of an amalgamation of his helmet with some more Vader-esque features to it, is what I understood.
Yeah, I'm hearing stuff
like
like
more
that.
monstrous looking ones.
I think so.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see that. And the other, I mean, I don't know if you have this in there, Tim. I don't want to.
Yes, you do.
Okay, you're right. I do.
Hold on. What'd you write down? Got it.
I think a lot of people were anticipating a trailer for Christmas.
Ugh, yeah.
Yeah. When do you think we're gonna get one?
I'm guessing Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I was wrong last time, right?
Yes, we were wrong last time.
Super Bowl or March.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere around there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lighting.
Yeah. I was hoping, but at the same time, I wasn't.
The one on the left. Left.
I wasn't.
Or,
How can I say it?
Why didn't you
Oh my
tell me?
god.
well, then
That's
it's gonna
right.
get darker.
No, so why didn't you tell me to fix it?
No.
Good
No.
job, Tim.
I was hoping
knew we
we were going
brought
to
you
get
for
one,
some
but
reason.
I wasn't
Those
anticipating it
questions.
either because it's kind of still a little early. You know, it's a year away, or right about a year away.
Yeah.
So
Well, because even then, last time for 8, we didn't get a trailer until was it Star Wars convention in April?
was it March or April?
I think it was around the convention.
Right?
Yeah,
I think you're right, Micah.
because they released their first trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, because at first it was the poster. Like they released, they were. It's like they released a poster
Every
for
time I
Denver.
say he's right, I almost fought him.
Yeah. Something bad. But like they're like they released a poster like, oh, everyone's getting a copy, and everyone's like expecting a trailer, and he was trying to like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
But it seemed like Abrams for episode 7. The reason I'm bringing that up is because it seemed like Abrams for episode 7, he released at least a teaser
Mm-hmm.
way
You had
sooner
a
than
teaser
that.
in December the previous year.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why when I heard rumors about Christmas, I was like,
Oh yes. Yeah.
and I think all they released was like a new short teaser, I think, for Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn y'all.
Oh, we got IG-88 from Favreau.
It's not a teaser, dude. That's a picture. Well, I mean, that's
We
a
got
Teaser trailer.
A gift.
Yes.
There you go. Merry Christmas.
Yes.
IG-88 is gonna be in there.
I wonder if that's a different series or if it's one of them
what?
AG-88s.
If it's the same
5
one.
of them.
I just hope he doesn't just stand there.
Yeah, right. Just,
I want to see actually really move around and do something
Like
like,
destroy
in the
people?
Shadows of the Empire video game.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just tearing through everybody.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Do you remember
That book, the Bounty Hunter book?
Mhm.
Well, that's where I got some of my info from.
Oh,
I
okay.
remember watching like read his like first story. It's like all this crap has happened, like, and it's only been 0.3 seconds. So I'm like, holy shit.
Well, yeah. Well, what I was going to bring up was the okay. We have the Clone series, which is like 3D animation, kind of like. But then there was a Clone Wars before that. It was like hand drawn. You remember that? And they had some. It seemed like pre IG-88 droids of that nature.
Yeah, they
And
were
they were-
under dirge.
Yeah, and they were like their bodies would spin around and their heads were like doing all kinds of stuff, and their arms were all over the. That would be cool to see something similar to that.
I just always remembered that video game. It was on the Nintendo 64.
Nintendo 64.
And he was actually a boss, one of the main bosses you had to fight.
Yes,
And he would just come after you like a Terminator,
Yeah.
or something. And you
exactly.
were having to get away from him and try to kill him at the same time. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
And I want to see him do that in live. I mean, I'm someone was standing there like they make fun of him in Robot Chicken.
Yeah, just there.
This guy listening to me.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Or drunk, right? Just somewhere, just sitting there,
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
It becomes a Bender from Futurama.
Uh-huh. Oh my goodness. What else you got, Tim?
I have talked about Solo. So Yeah, just wanted you to talk about Han Solo and how much of the wonderful film it was.
It
What
was
is- and what are some of the characters from the film that you would like to see more of in the future?
I
And
guess
I think we covered some of that already.
a little bit, yeah.
I
a
would
little
like to see Kara somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was a good contribution to them. I actually really liked that film. I really didn't think, I kind of felt bad that it got the reception it did because it honestly, it was a great film. It's actually that one and Rogue One are my favorite of the Disney films so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when we left the movies, did I tell you, or maybe it was Micah? I think I turned to one of you guys and I was like, "That was really good."
Yeah.
It
It was me.
Yeah, I think it was you.
But I remember a couple episodes we had for the podcast before that. We were asking like, what do we think about it? And I was like, guys, just have faith.
Mm-hmm. We were
Especially
getting
Ron
nervous.
Howard, doing it.
We're getting nervous. Yeah.
And I was like, keep the faith, guys. Come on. And yeah, that movie was fun. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I just had hope because Ron Howard had his hands on it, and
Mhm.
I trust Ron Howard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That he could somehow pull it off, and he did. He did a great job. It was a great film. There was, I think it's one of the best so far of the Disney films so far.
One of the scenes that because we're talking about Star Wars, focusing on the wars part of it. I really enjoyed when they told Han Solo, "Well, we'll have you flying in no time," and then just that scene.
And
where-
he's flying in the air.
yeah. But then you got the ATST walker just like coming down and like just like and then just going off and just I mean.
Yeah, I wanted to see more of that battle.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. I love
seemed
that.
pretty hardcore.
Yeah, I mean, exactly right. We're right in the middle of this battle, right on the ground.
I loved Rogue One. I really did. But I thought we were going to get more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the thing that they were trying to say beforehand was like, this is like the soldier's POV. So I thought we were going to, and don't get me wrong, there was, great battle scene on Scarif, but I thought we were going to get a little bit more of like that nitty gritty in depth, like hearing this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like you hear something, you turn around like, oh shit. You know what I mean?
And I wonder, and then I don't know if this is one of your questions, Tim, but we've debated about this. Should there be, because you grew up with Star Wars, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be 45 next month, right? And the girls have mentioned this too, like, okay, well, what about us? We're already past the PG-13. Will there ever be a rated R? You know what I mean? So you can get grittier scenes like that. And some of our guests have commented on it. We've commented on it. What are your thoughts on that?
I have a feeling Disney would do kind of what they did with Marvel and Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my take on it, because I don't think they will ever push for an R-rated on-screen
feature film.
Yeah. Deadpool is something that's just gotten away from them, and they can't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if they did want to go that route, if they ever allowed it to go that route, I think they would probably do something like Netflix over Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil, and
Yeah.
and some of the other ones that obviously went in some dark territory.
Yeah.
I think that's where they would do it,
Mm-hmm.
because they know that the primary, they want as many people to go see the big movies as possible, because that's where the majority of their investment is.
Right.
And they want to reach as big of an audience as possible. And if you put out an R-rated film that you've invested all this money in, it's a big gamble.
Yes.
And I think they're kind of already worried about those kind of things.
Yeah.
So I think it would probably be something, if they ever let that go, it would be something like Netflix. So.
Yeah. And that might be interesting, man. You know what I mean?
Because of the
I thought that's
Game
the
of
only way
Thrones
they were
guy.
going to do Cassian's, was it had to be R.
Yeah. I mean, hell, seeing that, like, the first time we see him, it's like, oh, the good guy has to get his hands dirty and kills a dude.
Man, that's like the introduction to
So
his
I was like, oh, wow.
You can tell he's like
Good guy's supposed to do good things, right?
hard life since he was a child. So like, I feel like everybody wants to know that story, and it's going to be a very hard life. Really.
I have a feeling it's going to be sort of a James Bond type of life.
That's
honestly,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
with him.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really looking forward to that one. I think, and
It's
like,
going to be like That's you. What's the other one? Jason Bourne.
Jason Bourne. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, it's cool because he's a pilot. I mean, from the movie, you can tell he's a sharpshooter. You know what I mean? He's in grunting with the other soldiers. You know what I mean? On Scarif. I mean, he's a sharp guy. You know what I mean? His character is. You know what I mean? So, and Diego Luna plays him. To the T. I mean, he really embodies that character. So, I'm looking forward to that. Maybe you're right, Tim. Maybe that's where how Trent said, if that's where they're going to put the rated R, maybe they dip their toe in the water there.
So then how is well, I guess that Disney app would be kind of like a Netflix where they have like a parental control. It's like once you go into this subchapters, like this is all mature content kind of thing. Like like when you create a Netflix, it's like you can have your account, which you can watch where the hell you want to, and then you have the kids or whatever. Yeah, because it's like, oh, cool. Let me watch some cartoon. And it's like, mommy, his head just got taken off.
It's Star Wars. It's all right. Well, I mean, Jango Fett did.
Django. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Well,
hold on.
But his head was in a helmet, so.
But if you look closely, it's dripping.
What?
God.
You see the head. You see the shadow of his head fly out.
Yes. Or is it like Tropic Thunder? He's all.
Oh my God. Oh God.
Lightsaber cauterized the moon.
Oh yes. I'm sorry. Okay. Well.
Oh God.
Oh, dumpy.
What else you got, Tim?
Well, I wanted to talk about, you covered the lines of The Mandalorian. If you had any theories, fan fiction of what you'd like to see in that show. Nick Nolte as Captain Rex. The location being on Galaxy's Edge is why they call it Disney's Galaxy's Edge.
Wait, Nick Nolte is going to be
what?
Right?
That's just
Is
fan
it-
fiction.
Everybody's all wait. What? Oh.
Like
You need to do a
spoiler.
Wait a minute.
I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Oh, okay.
Well, that would be interesting.
The Hutts being in reform because I think they just lost Jabba the Hutt
Okay.
in this. So what they'll probably have some episodes in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, he looks like he's on a desert planet, so he's probably in Tatooine.
covered
Or now
Sabine,
Hutter.
Sabine in the Darksaber, IG-88. What about Bosk? Will Pedro Pascal have both his eyes? And
That's from. That was good.
Oh man.
That's
That's one of the only times.
That was good. Tim.
That's one of the only times I'm actually watching. I had to watch it on my phone, and I'm watching that, and I just see it. I'm like, oh my God! Like I never get affected, but I liked it. I was like, you're getting too close. You're getting too close.
Oh man, I love this character so much. He was like my new favorite character on the show, and
Yeah,
I
that's
just
what
destroyed
fun
him.
Is what?
He lasted like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was there. I was like, oh.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Well, what else you got, Tim?
Yeah. So
You got some good stuff, man.
let's see.
I felt like you were more prepared. I thought you had more questions.
We have a couple more that scratched up.
I'm sure they're good. Bring it to the table.
Is there anything you can tell us that we can expect from the upcoming Star Wars movies or TV shows?
I hear it's a sequel to episode 8.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I'll tell you what. Right now, with episode 9, there's nothing literally.
Oh wow.
Nothing. We're in like a total void about that. Or at least with around this time with episode 8, we had some indications and directions and some visuals of things of where things are going. We don't have anything.
They're keeping it total hush.
We don't have anything. In fact, we're wondering even when the next bit of work is going to come up, because right now we're in this lull and they're talking about Stranger Things and all these other things, but they're not saying anything about Star Wars right now.
Oh wow.
So it's the first time where we've had this kind of a lull suddenly. because this year has been bam, 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 bam. I mean, it's just been constant, and then all of a sudden it's just dropped off.
Oh wow.
So we're just waiting to see.
What's the kind of average time that for a project like that? Like,
it depends. What they usually, you have about 5 to 6 weeks on a project.
okay.
But we've had 2 times this year where things kept getting pushed back and delayed.
Mm.
And then those things would stack up on top of another project that's already there.
Yeah.
And another project. And all of a sudden you've got 4
All
at
at
once.
All in 5 weeks. Yeah.
And
wow.
that was one thing that happened with Solo.
Mhm.
I'll throw that out there. Because we were supposed to start working on Solo like it was December of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they kept pushing it back. We're like, well, when are we going to start working on this? Because we know the product comes out in May. And it wasn't until after we got that Super Bowl thing, then they said, okay,
Go.
but that's all you got to work with.
Oh
Wow.
gosh.
That's all you got to work with. And we're like, oh my God. And they're like, and we need it in 3 weeks.
Mm.
Yeah, that was bad. And they stacked it right on top of more work on Last Jedi. We also have Walking Dead set on at the same time. And Aliens hit me at the same time with Upper Deck. So I had all that work. And I thought I was going to die.
and then
March.
and then you're getting messages, hey Trent, can you come on the show? And you're like, okay, wait.
Don't
guys.
even talk to me.
It's like, I can't even get up from my desk, guys.
Yeah, 'cause I think that's kind of where I was getting at. It's like teaser trailer comes out Friday, you get the call Friday afternoon. I need something like next week.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with Solo.
Oh gosh.
It was really rough working on that set, and that teaser trailer only had so much in it, and you had to basically. They said, okay, we need this much product with this time, and you're like, how do you stretch it out? And one of the things I knew I could rely on was like, I know Chewbacca always looks the same. It's going to look pretty much the same.
Mhm.
I know a traditional TIE fighter is going to look the same. I know a traditional Star Destroyer is going to look the same. So I relied on a lot of that to kind of stretch it out because the particulars, we just didn't have a whole lot to work with. And that was the first movie where we had almost nothing to work with, and they wanted a product for it.
Yeah, that's tough.
And whereas with Last Jedi, we just had, an entourage.
Just
to do. And I'm getting the impression that we probably won't even start doing anything for the next film until maybe May or June. And it will probably, because they are putting out these sets that are called Journey to the next film, Journey to Force Awakens, Journey to Last Jedi, and everything. We're assuming they're going to follow the same trend because that's what they've been doing. So we're assuming that's probably going to be out around May, June. Yeah. And then a proper set around September. Yeah. We would start working on for the film to come out in December. But yeah, right now this is the first time, and it's kind of weird because literally we've just been hit over the head all year long with Star Wars product coming out every month, and all of a sudden now we don't have any stuff. Yeah,
interesting.
Because that makes me remember. It's like, what makes you think we're even going to get a teaser trailer? They haven't even given us the title yet. I didn't even think about that.
We did talk a little bit about the title last episode.
But I mean,
they have title.
Yeah, but I mean, they have. They're gonna release like, hey, this is
what it is.
This is the last hope. This is whatever. Like, they're gonna give you an official name before they give you anything else, and we haven't even gotten that yet. Yikes!
Micah says the last hope. What do you think it is?
I had a title. I don't know what it was.
I know we've talked about it. Because that's not my original. That was stolen from the internet. Because you had A New Hope, and then you had The Last Jedi, and it's like Rey just gets awoken, like, hey, do something.
Yeah. Do you have a? No.
No, I don't have any idea.
Yeah, it's
where this is gonna go. No idea.
You Tim?
General Kenobi.
Endgame. But they didn't have a book.
Shut up.
They do.
Well, and they
I'll
moved
talk about it.
Avengers. Yeah, I was like, how bad would that be if they doubled down?
Right.
Endgame. Yeah, episode 9. Endgame.
Endgame. Okay, yeah.
Huh?
Go.
And what?
I think Disney's in a position right now where they've got to, excuse me, they now own so many different franchises. I think they're trying to figure out now how to space things apart to
Mhm.
where they're not all going to collide on top of one another.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one of the things they've run into, and so I think that's kind of made them want to create a distance
Yeah.
with everything.
Which
Because
is strange because then it's like you're competing against yourself.
yeah, they're literally
Right.
competing against themselves because I mean, you look at every movie that's coming out. You've got Pixar, you've got Marvel, you've got Lucasfilm, you've got their own live action films like
Mhm.
the Mary Poppins just came out. We got
Mhm.
Lion King coming up and a Dumbo coming out.
Aladdin.
You got Aladdin.
Mhm.
You've got this new Avengers movie, Captain Marvel, whatever they do after this final Avengers,
Mhm.
the next phase. All of those movies are vying for time and enough time to actually, do well,
Mhm.
so that they're not competing against one another. I think that was part of the problem this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I think they're concerned about that, and they're trying to figure out, well, how do we do this?
How do we space it
How do
out?
we start spacing this out? Because
Mhm.
they own just about everything, right?
Yeah.
And now they've acquired 20th Century Fox.
Mhm.
They've got all those. If they have any tentpole movies in 20th that they want to work on, that's another. Now they got a 5th deal.
Yeah.
They got to figure out how to space.
Rome.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this a while back. In a way, it's like, has Disney gotten too big for itself? You know what I mean? Because when you're competing against yourself, it's kind of nice. You're like, oh, we'll just put it out, and people like it, they'll go. But then all of a sudden, they're like, oh, well, they went to this, but they didn't really go to this. Like, oh, should we not make any more of that? Now all of a sudden, like, let's just say Aliens is dead.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, but I love Aliens. Why haven't they made an Aliens movie in like 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
So I can see where it can be very difficult for them to be like, well, is it worth investing, these millions and millions of dollars for this niche of people that really enjoy it? You know what I mean? Are we gonna break even?
Yeah.
And it's tough.
And there's already 2 movies on the 20th Century line that have already got kind of punished for that, and that's the New Mutants films coming out and the new X-Men film, the Dark Phoenix
Yeah.
film. Those were actually supposed to come out last year, and they've got pushed 2-3 times, I think, a piece
Yeah.
into next year. And they're caught also in the middle of this acquisition of 20th Century Fox to Disney.
Yeah.
So, and also now that Marvel is going to have full access to all the X-Men characters and everything now, and they want to basically do a reboot of
Yes.
X-Men for their universe.
Mhm.
All those things are getting caught in the middle. So you got a lot of, you just gotta, it's a big unfortunate confluence, where movies are getting basically punished because they're
Yes.
not, because of the time frames.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm curious how they're gonna deal with that, in the future here.
Just start calling them by the month's name. This is February.
They might.
It's a Disney movie that's it's a Marvel movie, but it's called February because it owns February, and then you have one each. You get one a month. Figure it out.
It's kind of funny, but that's actually a good strategy.
Disney of the month
I'd say
movies.
give every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Give a movie at least 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they're still also going to be competing about what else could be out there from Warner Brothers, whether it's in the
Mhm.
Harry Potter film or things like that,
Yeah.
or James Bond film or things like that. Going to be competing against those as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and
you
just-
need to keep those in mind too.
Yeah.
But I think that's what they're trying to figure out right now, is how to stagger things so that they actually do well and don't compete against one another.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And just put their tight movies against the competitors. Like say was Warner Brothers, I guess you said it was a Harry Potter.
Mhm.
So you have a Harry Potter movie coming out. Like, okay, what's one of our hugest films? Avengers. Put it right there just to screw with them. and then you can own the rest of the time, the rest of the space. And then if you have like another competitor movie coming in, all right, what's another type movie? Episode 9. Throw it there. I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough though, because then
The movies could suffer, yeah.
yeah, exactly. What else you got, Tim?
Thank
You got some good questions, man.
The last one was just talking about your artwork and what you've done so far from the last time to now. You know, what are some of your favorite pieces? And
Could you name each piece that you've done?
I'm just kidding.
actually, you're all one of them.
How long ago was it when I was here?
It was it a year now?
It's
It's been over a year.
It's been over years. It was
when you were
Yeah.
mid-October.
Mhm.
It was mid-October.
Yeah, because that's when I was in Belfast.
yes.
And that was 2017.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh my god.
You just do Star Wars.
Mhm.
Not all everything.
How was Stranger Things?
I was so excited to start it, and then we got the material to work on, and then I realized again it was another one of those situations where they want so much product, but you realized you're kind of in a vacuum of how much stuff you actually have to work with.
Mm.
So you had to stretch it out, try to figure out how to stretch it out. It was a little hard in that sense,
Yeah.
working on it. I enjoyed working on it. I'm trying to figure out. I know the next series that's about to come out, we're going to be concentrating on season 2
Okay.
stuff. So I imagine, we'll be in the constraints of that, and hopefully there won't be any actor likeness issues or anything that comes up to constrain us anymore. But yeah, it was cool. I was really excited about it because I love that show.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that show. And yeah, when I said it was coming up, I was like, yes, I'm not here. Here I am. I'm ready to work on it. I will get rid of all this right here just to do that. you know?
Yes.
So I was totally excited to have that one. Probably around right after, I want to say, what I remember was the week after I did the show the first time was when Thompson approached me to do base cards, which is this guy
Mm-hmm.
and the Kylo Ren piece.
Yeah.
And that was huge. That because the thing about sketch cards is they're all one of a kinds, but they're basically out there random for people to possibly find.
Yeah.
Say there's in the call of all the artists working on a set, there could be 100 to 200 of us, and
Mhm.
at the very least, people are doing at least 35 cards. Some of us all the way up to 100, 120.
Mhm.
So you multiply that, and then you put that out there to the masses worldwide,
Yes.
and they're pretty random. Base cards is something that's basically replicated worldwide that anyone can collect.
Yes.
And so it puts you in a very big, much bigger frame of, exposure.
Yes.
And just being part of the legacy of the Galaxy series, which started in '93, it's a very highly regarded series.
Mhm.
And a lot of those artists that started on Galaxy went on to much greater things in comics and so on.
Yeah.
Dave Dorman, Brian Stelfreeze, Joe Caroni. It's kind of like a kicking off point,
Yeah.
And so when I was asked to do that, it was kind of like, okay, you've been working with us about 6 months. You proved yourself.
Yes.
We're offering you this now. And that's probably been the pinnacle
Right now.
of anything I've
Right
done.
now, because I couldn't foresee not better, but more things happening for you. You know what I mean?
There's possibly more things, but for me, this is the pinnacle because honestly,
Mhm.
my entire life, I never even considered it a possibility that I would ever do anything that would be part of the legacy of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Never.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly can say that. It wasn't a consideration. I mean, I lived here in Corpus. I went to school and I did the things, and I figured I would stay, and do just
that little niche thing that I ended up doing, IT or whatever here in Corpus, I had never ever considered it was even remotely a possibility.
Mhm.
So it's totally floored me. It's absolutely floored me that I'm actually now a part. The sketch cards is one thing, but knowing that art is part of,
Star Wars.
Lucasfilm,
Yeah.
and I am part of that legacy now. It's just, I don't. Sometimes I just don't have the words for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Speechless.
Very speechless.
Yeah.
But that's what happened right after I left here. Basically, within about a week or two after I did the show the first time.
Yeah.
And so I did that for that lasted for about 2 or 3 months, because it started off with they said, okay, we've got you in, give us 3 ideas. Just write it down. You can do a little sketch you want, but we really just want you to write down what your ideas are. And if you want to do a sketch, that's fine. I gave them 3 ideas, and it was the Kylo Ren piece.
Mhm.
The other one was Boba Fett, where it was going to be from his perspective on Bespin when Luke's coming and he's about to go around the corner and take a shot at Luke.
Yeah.
It's going to be from Boba Fett's perspective, firing at Luke
Okay.
from that shot. And Disney said, "No, you're not doing that one."
You're like, but I always thought that they're like, no.
Yeah, you're not doing that one. But those 2 I'd actually even done as a sketch for, the Kylo and the Boba Fett.
Mhm.
And the third one, I was like, they're never going to go for this, because they may think I'm riffing on somebody or something like that, which, it was kind of, this piece is basically an homage piece to the 1982 teaser poster for Revenge of the Jedi that
Revenge.
Drew Struzan did.
Mhm.
I wanted to do a total homage, and that's all I said in the thing. I said, third one is an homage to that poster, but instead of Vader, you've got Darth Maul in the battle between the 3 of them.
Yes.
Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Maul. I thought they'd never go for that one. That was the first one they wanted.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even drawn it.
Yeah. They're like, do
I
it.
said, do that one. I was like, okay. And so there's about 40, under 50 of us that all got picked to work on the set. And the understanding was the majority of us just thought we're all going to have one apiece, And then they contact me after I start working on one. I said, we like the Kylo Ren piece. Go ahead and go to the next phase with the Kylo Ren piece.
Oh, nice.
It's like, okay. And I was confused because I thought we were only supposed to have one.
Yeah.
So I started doing the Kylo Ren. I got it up to a certain point, and they said, that's great. How's the Maul coming? Oh.
But
I'm doing okay. And I would have to clarify. I'm like, do you mean the Kylo Ren? I'm like, no, we mean the Maul.
yeah.
We want to see more of where that's going. So the Maul is a completely different technique from how I did the Kylo. Kylo is very much more specific.
Mhm.
This is much more of almost just a slapping of paint, splattering of paint on there.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know how to draw that just as a sketch. So I just went for it.
Yeah.
I went for the total black and white before color, and just splattered the paint on there, and I sat there, and they're like, awesome, go to color. So, okay. And they didn't want any changes or anything. I was totally blown away by that. And so I went to color, and they said, good, you're done. That's it.
Wow.
And then Kylo, I had to shrink down. I had it too tall, and I had to bring him more up underneath the helmet and bring out the color more of him so you could actually distinguish him more from the background.
Yeah.
So that took he took a lot more work to do, but that one turned out exactly how I thought it would.
Yeah,
I always pictured this, and this was something I always wanted to do just for myself. I never thought that I would ever be doing anything like that for real for somebody.
Yeah.
And when I did it, it turned out exactly how I thought it would. They liked it instantly, and it was just
amazing when your work just
it just flowed and it just happened, and they said absolutely yes, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Awesome.
And because I was doing an homage, I was actually a little scared. I actually got to meet Drew Struzan the following month as I was working on the painting. And I said, I just want to let you know I'm doing this.
Yes.
I'm not, and it's a total homage
to what you're doing, you know, out of respect to what you did, because you're my favorite artist, you know, and I don't want you to think, and he's like, no, that's amazing, go for it.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, how good. And Lucasfilm was like, yes, we want it. So that was perfect.
Yeah.
That's
a great story.
That was basically the pinnacle of everything I've done.
Yeah.
But as soon as we finished that, which went into January, then all of a sudden it was bam, bam, bam,
Yeah.
bam, bam. We had product coming out every single month for 2018.
Yeah.
We had Solo. We had at least 2 more things for Last Jedi.
Mhm.
We had Galactic Files, Masterwork. We returned to Galaxy back in the summer because then they wanted sketch cards to go also with the base cards.
Okay.
So we did more Galaxy then. And we ended with an Empire Strikes Back set that comes out in January.
Oh, nice.
And then on top of that, we had Stranger Things. We had Walking Dead, and I did that for a while. And when Stranger Things popped up, I said, you know what? I don't need that anymore.
Yeah. Walking.
I'm kind of tired of it.
Yeah.
And then Aliens popped up through Upper Deck.
Yes.
That was great, and that was something I wanted to tell everybody forever because I'm such an H.R. Giger fan.
Yes.
I was like, I'm finally, you know, working on one of my bucket list things, and I couldn't say anything for the longest time because 20th Century had such a chokehold on their information, much more than Disney had.
Yeah.
But I had Aliens, and then after that, I got spotted by more people. And so I got hired. I had Tops, I had Upper Deck. Then suddenly I was working for a company called RR Parks, doing Sharknado and Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm doing more Mystery Science Theater next year.
Oh, cool.
So, and then I got picked up by another company called Viceroy. And they do, I actually like working for them because they have these kind of general sets that aren't attached to any franchise. They're just attached to like a subject. Like the first one I did was just on space exploration, and you could go anywhere with it. You could paint anything you wanted for it. It was open ended.
Wow.
And that was it. And they were so relaxed to work for. They were great to work for. And I can't wait to work for them some more next year.
That's cool.
But man, February, March, and end of October and November, those 2 periods of this year, I really wanted to die. There was just so much work that piled up, and you're just scrambling to get it done. And because this isn't my day job,
No,
this is
exactly.
I'm doing this on the side outside of my day job. And yeah, this year was just a blur with that. But
So I got a question for you, Trent.
okay,
So you've been working a lot.
yeah,
Right. You've been working a lot. If you take a vacation right now for 2 weeks from regular job and your artwork job, what would be your dream vacation right now?
I really want to go with Big Bend right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to spend every winter holiday for several years in a row, always going to Big Bend because it's a park where it's not a whole lot of people go and visit that park, especially that time of year.
Yeah.
And you get the whole park to yourself. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely quiet. The nearest city is like 3 hours away. You're just, it's just quiet, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I would love to go there right now.
Yeah.
And just chill out and get out of the noise.
Yes. Yes.
So
yeah,
I think I posted a picture about that yesterday on my Facebook. I need to get back to this spot right here.
Right there.
This is where I need to be right now.
Tim, did you have any other questions?
No, that's okay.
Okay, so I got a few other ones. So I'm going to ask you this about your, and I think if I'm correct, like let's say that you get like 20th Century or Tops or Upper Deck throws you some work, right? And they're like, we want you to do, like you said, I want you to do this, but you can only use this segment of what we've showed you or whatever. Is it? I guess you couldn't, because it seems like they don't want anybody to see this artwork until it's out, right? So that's what I was going to ask was, would you ever consider, or are you able to like go live on Facebook, Instagram, or maybe even YouTube, some artists, while they're doing their work, you can see them creating the
Yeah,
pieces.
Dave Dorman's great about that. I
Yeah.
love watching Dave Dorman doing his work. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. If it was something that I was doing probably for my own
Mhm.
deal, where I'm not under a contract,
Yeah.
sure, I would love. I've considered it. I actually even bought one of those arms the other day so I could try to hook up a camera and
Oh, cool.
I could show what I was doing. But
Yeah.
I'm really slow.
You can.
I'm really slow, and my pencils generally don't look like much to
the camera.
Yeah, because my pencils are really basic because I know exactly where I'm going to go with the inks as soon as I'm done, and I do actually more work with the inks than you will see me doing it all with pencils. The pencils is just a circle with with a little something here and
The
something
glue
sticking
guide.
out here, and it doesn't look like anything to you, but I know exactly where I'm going to go with that with inks.
Yeah.
So I kind of worry sometimes about they're going to be really bored and go, what the hell is that again?
It's a circle and a blob and
So, but yeah, I have considered it. Like I said, I bought that thing the other day to try to hook up the phone to try to film
yeah.
the stuff and everything. But I love watching Dave. He's become a really good friend to me.
Mm-hmm.
Dave does that a lot online sometimes.
Yeah.
And he does full paintings, online for you. And it's just, I learn stuff watching him and watching his techniques and everything. I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, me too.
And if I'm able to do it and not screw up or, and actually do something nice that everybody could enjoy, sure, I would love to do that.
Excellent. So maybe that's something we can look forward to in the future if and the reason that I ask is, because like I said, I've seen other artists do that, and sometimes it's almost like I want to say like a TV show, but like I get encaptured by it to where like I'm like, oh shoot, I've been watching this for like 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's sometimes it's like very soothing in a way, you know what I mean? Because they might not even be talking. They're just brushstroking and just watching this piece come together is amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just curious if you had ever considered, doing something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Wow. We've almost been doing this for 2 hours. We have about 10 minutes left. Goodness gracious. Well, just anybody else? I don't want to.
I had one question.
Huh?
I said you don't want to talk the whole time.
No.
I had one. It might sound silly. I know, like, say with potentially with maybe some of the Star Wars stuff or whatever that you're doing. Sometimes, like, maybe they just give you a general idea, like not giving you too much information, but sometimes you get a little bit of insight before anyone knows, before, say, the movie comes out or whatever it is. Do you ever feel like, okay, that's good, I need that information, but it's like when you're watching the film, it's like, damn it, I wish I didn't know that. Because, like, not to say it cheapens your first impression of it.
I think anything that we have seen has been very careful not to. When I went into Last Jedi, despite the visuals of what I saw, I couldn't actually put the story together from it.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we've never been given anything that actually gave you much of a story point or a spoiler at all.
Okay.
In fact, I've seen some things, and the stuff that I've actually seen published that ended up not even being in the movie, and it was like the one thing that comes to mind on Last Jedi, they were supposed to be TIE bombers, where they're not in the movie at all.
Yeah,
but they were actually designed for the film. But you don't see anything about them on that. But I remember seeing that quite early on when I started working on Last Jedi. No, I've never had anything that gave me a story point.
Okay.
Yeah.
To where you're like disappointed or like, man, I wish.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I know, like, for me, like, when I was, when did it come out? 2000, like 10 or 11 or something, when episode 1 came out for me, I mistakenly somehow got a copy of the visual dictionary. So it kind of tells you the story, not knowing what it was. I was like, oh, this is cool. And I know that's probably way more information than what they would give to you for your art.
Yeah.
But I just remember, like, I had this framework, I had this outline. So I'm watching the movie, I'm like, wait a minute. If this happens next, oh damn it! Like I was like it cheapened it for me because I kind of like figured out what the movie was because I had just read it and I didn't realize that's what it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was like maybe the backstory to it, and I didn't know if you ever got any feeling like because you have your work and you have this is your passion and everything, but also you want to be a fan too and like you want to see something fresh. So I just didn't know
exactly. Yeah.
if there's ever like a cross point and where you're like. Maybe you saw something and it's like, and I know you've already asked the question, but it was just like, if you saw something and it's like, oh, well, if I'm doing this, well, maybe it's for this, which you'll already start to brainstorm and like starting to try to connect things. And if you see that little particular thing and say in a film, it's like, what if they do this? Oh shit. I wish I didn't think of that beforehand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something silly like that.
Yeah, everything that we've gotten or that we've been able had access to before the film comes out, it's generally just on a design basis.
Okay.
After the film comes out, then we're allowed to actually maybe do scenes and stuff like that. But even then, on a contract, they might have some specific things that even though the film's been out for 2 or 3 months, they'll still say, we don't want you to do anything portraying this at all.
Okay.
Like, I don't know why, but we still are under this embargo that we can't do anything about Han Solo's death.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard something about that.
But yeah, we're still not.
Well, I mean, he's not
anything related.
he's
to
not
this.
dead, guys. Come on. Yeah.
That's
Interesting.
No, there's just things like that they get real specific about.
and some of those things are like head scratchers that you mentioned. It's like, wait, what?
Sometimes they have their reasons, and
Yeah.
you're under contract. You sign that piece of paper, so
Yeah.
you have to read through them and make sure. And it's and every once in a while you have to, especially when you get caught up in working on something, you have to double check yourself and make sure, okay, am I not about to do something I'm not supposed to?
Yeah.
And go back. And a lot of us artists, we all talk to each other. So we're all saying, hey, I'm going to do this, or hey, I'm going to do this time and everything. Or we'll all say, hey, let's all do a port card in this role. So we all do the same port card, we'll do things like that. But every once in a while, say, hey, look what I did. And we're like, dude, that's number 7 on
It's a no.
the contract.
Yeah.
They're gonna tell you no on that one.
Yeah.
So everyone, but it's just something you have to really pay attention to because they get real specific.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious, like, when they do give you, usually how many things is it a no, do you think? Or is it just totally different on each?
It depends on the set.
Yeah.
But I've had some that's more than a page.
Oh, wow.
Don't do this, don't do that.
Oh, wow.
And some of them are pretty much a cohesive thing that every set you get said they have this stance. Like they don't want any kind of they don't want you to draw any kind of a character pointing a gun like this at you. At like if you're looking at the card, it looks like the gun's pointing at you.
It needs to be.
Disney's like, no, you
Yeah.
don't do any cards like that. They don't want anything like that. So you have to be real careful with that. And I think that's kind of the reason why my Boba Fett got axed.
Yeah.
They said absolutely not.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't, but
Yeah.
they axed it for that. I'm pretty sure for that reason. But yeah, they have their specifics.
Nice.
Yeah, you have to follow.
Well, since we're getting close to the end here, I mean, Trent, would you like to say, like, where can people find your artwork? Who you're working for? Maybe some of the local areas around the place, around Corpus, that they can, find your artwork, or where to just contact you if they have any questions about your artwork.
Probably the best place to contact me right now is my Instagram, which is 2023 Comics. That's that's my handle for all the stuff I do outside of working for Tops and everything. But I post everything there. So 2023 Comics on Instagram. That's the best place to see when I'm posting my work. There's also a Facebook page. It's just under my name, Trent Westbrook. You can go to there. But Instagram's probably the best place to contact me or to see what I'm doing. Locally in Corpus Christi, if anyone's looking for something of mine, I would say probably the best place right now, and it's because the cards have gone
International where you can get the cards anywhere. Go to Target.
Oh, cool.
Target is the best place to get the Galaxy set.
Mhm.
That's where my base cards are in
Oh, cool.
that I painted. So there's that, and the next set that's coming out for me will be in January. It's an Empire Strikes Back themed set for Tops, and we're just waiting to see what's going to happen with Stranger Things.
Yes.
I know I'm going to be working on Mystery Science Theater 3000 again next year,
Awesome.
That'd be cool.
and also be working with that company Viceroy again. I'm not sure what the set's going to be.
Yeah.
The theme is going to be yet.
But it sounds like you're enjoying that because they give you that freedom.
I really enjoy that, and the communication is great with that company, as well as RR Parks that does Mystery Science Theater and Sharknado.
Mhm.
Those guys are great to work with.
Yeah.
I totally, they're amazing.
Awesome. Awesome.
So I'll be continuing to do that with them, and I'm sure that when Disney calls for Star Wars,
Mhm. You're like, hey.
I'm like, okay, let's go.
Well, Trent brought us a bunch of great gifts
Yeah.
as well. I don't want to, leave that out. I know I grabbed this one, which is a Nine Noob, and it's signed, right, by the actor. And I know he brought us a bunch of trading cards. Some of his. Don't touch that, Tim. What are you doing? You're gonna lose that hand.
He took his questions. He takes your stuff.
I know. Brought us a bunch of cool trading cards and some other really awesome stuff. Trent, you've been on our show twice now. You've been very, 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 very polite, very awesome, very easy to talk to, very accessible. Even though you've had all this work, in your life right now. And we wish you the greatest of success. You've had, from your vantage point, you're at your pinnacle, and we're really interested, and I'm really interested to see where your artwork and your career in that field goes in the future, because it sounds like, with stuff going worldwide, we can find your stuff at Target, and Target is everywhere. You know what I mean? And people are going to get to see more, enjoy more of your artwork, and maybe you'll bring fans into the Star Wars universe that maybe they wouldn't have known it, because they're like, wow, look at that. That looks cool. Where is that from? You know what I mean? And so that is really exciting. Just to, have been able to meet you and have you on our show multiple times now. We hope that you'd want to come back to the show in the future here. We can talk more about your work and what's going on with you. You know what I mean? And with Star Wars, because we love Star Wars as well. But just to give it a wrap up there, we just want to say thank you once again for joining us
Thank you,
today.
Thanks you.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Y'all been really kind to me, and I just appreciate all y'all's support. It's been really nice.
Excellent. Well, for the Force Choke podcast, this has been episode 41. Over here we got,
Micah,
I'm Izzy.
Sarah.
Tim,
I'm Lewis.
did you have to
and-
think about that too?
I was going to say something else.
And this was our special guest, Trent Westbrook. So thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next episode.
Really hot.
That was fun.
I'm so